Late last night, an alarming situation unfolded that no parent ever wants to face. Reports claim that Chrisean Rock's infant son, little baby Junior, was suddenly rushed to the hospital after what sources are describing as a frightening heart-related emergency. The news has shaken fans, sparked an outpouring of concern across social media, and even silenced many of Chrisean's usual critics, who are now demanding clarity about what truly happened. Eyewitness accounts suggest the ordeal began when the baby unexpectedly collapsed during what should have been an ordinary evening at home. Chaos followed instantly. Chrisean's cries filled the room while relatives frantically dialed 911. Emergency responders arrived in record time, racing into the residence before carefully transferring the child into an ambulance. As sirens blared and red lights cut through the night, the gravity of the moment left everyone frozen with fear. Whispers from those close to the situation claimed doctors had long cautioned Chrisean Rock that her son's heart condition was far more severe than she seemed willing to accept. Instead of following through with strict medical protocols, she allegedly placed her trust entirely in faith, insisting God's protection was enough. Now, with baby Junior fighting for his life, those past choices are casting a painful shadow. The internet is in turmoil, supporters are praying, critics are pointing fingers, and the world is holding its breath with one haunting question: can he survive this terrifying battle? The headlines are relentless, blogs are overflowing with speculation, and fans are caught between panic and hope. Baby Junior, Chrisean Rock's firstborn, has reportedly been rushed to the hospital after what insiders describe as a shocking heart attack scare. And while the focus remains on his survival, another question looms in the background: how did the situation deteriorate so badly? To understand the weight of this crisis, it is necessary to revisit the chaos, the ignored warnings, and the unhealed scars that surround both mother and child. Chrisean's journey into motherhood was far from ordinary, shaped by chaos, public scrutiny, and a constant battle to prove herself. She first stepped into the spotlight through Zeus Network's Baddies franchise, a reality series designed to showcase over-the-top personalities and non-stop drama. Chrisean quickly became one of the show's most polarizing figures, known for explosive altercations, drunken rants, and emotional meltdowns that often left viewers questioning her mental stability. At the center of it all was her on-again, off-again relationship with rapper Blueface, a pairing that blurred the line between toxic love story and full-blown circus. Their relationship played out online in raw, unfiltered moments that made them viral sensations, but also constant subjects of criticism. For many, Chrisean became the face of reckless behavior, a young woman spiraling before millions of viewers. Yet behind the chaos was someone fighting desperately to hold on to love, recognition, and ultimately, herself. The turning point came when Chrisean announced she was pregnant with Blueface's child. The news was met with mixed emotions across the hip-hop and entertainment worlds. Some supporters saw it as a chance for her to reset her life, a new beginning that could force her to mature and shift her priorities. To them, motherhood was an opportunity for redemption, a way to step out of the shadow of her destructive reputation. But others were far more skeptical, pointing to her violent outbursts, substance use, and public breakdowns as proof that she was not emotionally ready to handle the responsibilities of raising a child. Online debates raged, with critics openly questioning whether the baby would be caught in the crossfire of her chaotic lifestyle. Chrisean, however, was unwavering in her belief that her pregnancy was a divine blessing. She leaned heavily on her faith, often invoking God during live streams and interviews. Tears frequently streamed down her face as she promised viewers, and perhaps herself, that she was determined to rise above the chaos and become the mother her child deserved. In her raw, vulnerable moments, she spoke of her baby as a gift sent to redirect her path, a sign that her life still had meaning beyond the scandals and fights. She insisted this child would be the turning point, the force strong enough to help her grow into a better version of herself. What made her story compelling was not just the controversy, but the humanity behind it. Millions watched as she stumbled, cried, and clung to hope in real time. To her critics, it looked like wishful thinking. To her supporters, it was courage in its purest form. The narrative surrounding Chrisean became bigger than just reality TV drama. It became a reflection of larger questions about second chances, personal transformation, and whether a person so publicly broken could find healing through motherhood. In many ways, Chrisean's pregnancy became more than just a personal journey. It turned into a cultural moment, forcing the world to confront its own biases about redemption, motherhood, and the messy, unpredictable paths people take to find purpose. But from the very beginning, baby Junior's health raised concerns. His extended hospital stay after birth, the medical tubes captured in early photos, and Chrisean's vague responses whenever fans pressed for details all fueled speculation. Instead of offering clarity, she often leaned on spiritual affirmations, declaring her son protected by God while dismissing negative commentary. A resurfaced livestream from earlier this year showed her pleading with viewers to stop speaking death over her child. At the time, many saw it as a defiant response to online trolling, but in hindsight, those words feel hauntingly prophetic in light of this crisis. The absence of Blueface has only deepened the challenges. The child's father, currently incarcerated, has spoken sporadically about his son online, but has been largely absent in his life. His lack of consistent support has left Chrisean to shoulder the burden of motherhood while also navigating her career and mental health. Some voices, like Jaguar Wright, have bluntly stated that a baby needs protection, and he isn't getting it from his father, a critique that now echoes louder with baby Junior's condition hanging in the balance. For months, insiders, from medical staff to family acquaintances, allegedly warned that Junior's heart condition was fragile and required strict medical oversight. They claimed that without consistent care, the child risked severe complications. Yet, reports suggest Chrisean may have missed key appointments, relying instead on prayer as her answer. Now, with her baby reportedly clinging to life, those ignored warnings are returning with devastating weight. Not long ago, a supposed nurse surfaced in a blurred TikTok clip, alleging that baby Junior's condition had been downplayed for far too long. "We tried to arrange regular checkups," she claimed, but too many were canceled. That child needed urgent care. Denial does not heal a baby. At the time, most dismissed the video as nothing more than rumor. But now, with baby Junior reportedly rushed into the ER, many are questioning whether those warnings carried more truth than anyone wanted to admit. The night of the crisis, those close to Chrisean Rock described scenes of pure chaos inside her home. Just after midnight, baby Junior allegedly went limp, his breath shallow and faint. Chrisean's cries for help echoed through the house while a relative urgently dialed 911. Paramedics arrived within moments, charging inside before carrying the baby out. Neighbors later shared what they saw with outlets like TMZ and Hollywood Unlocked, flashing red lights, the piercing wail of sirens, and Chrisean's voice breaking as she screamed, "Don't take him from me," again and again. One anonymous witness called the scene absolutely heartbreaking. Though an official statement has yet to be released, insiders claim doctors referred to the emergency as a cardiac episode, a term rarely used when describing infants, but one that underscores just how devastating the situation may be. As expected, social media turned the tragedy into a storm of divided reactions. Thousands flooded timelines with prayers and support. "Please let baby Junior be okay." No matter what anyone thinks of Chrisean, no mother deserves this kind of suffering. But others used the moment to assign blame, insisting the warning signs had been clear for months and suggesting that this collapse was not as sudden as it seemed. The whispers online have grown sharper: the late-night partying, the skipped medical appointments, and now a child in crisis. Public opinion has split down the middle. Empathy pours out for baby Junior, while harsh criticism falls squarely on his mother. As the infant reportedly remains under close watch in the hospital, Chrisean Rock has gone silent. No live streams, no cryptic posts, no fiery defenses. Just silence. For someone who has built her reputation on raw transparency, broadcasting every tear and outburst, such quietness speaks volumes. It suggests something heavier is unfolding, because this is no longer just a health scare. It is a reckoning, a test of accountability, faith, and resilience. Regardless of whether baby Junior pulls through, that harrowing night has already altered the course of Christian's life. The lingering question is whether she will finally speak openly about her son's fragile condition or continue to shield it with silence while speculation runs unchecked. The ambulance may have disappeared into the darkness, but the memory of her screams still lingers with neighbors who witnessed the desperate scene. The baby's breaths were faint, paramedics working feverishly as Christian broke down beside them, begging for him to hold on. What began as a private nightmare quickly erupted into a public scandal. The first leaks, surprisingly, did not come from tabloids or blogs, but from inside the hospital itself. An alleged ER nurse, hidden behind a burner TikTok account, claimed doctors had identified the episode as cardiac-related, stemming from pre-existing complications. She offered no specific diagnosis, but left the internet stunned with one chilling statement: this wasn't random. There were warning signs. The mother was told, if the whispers prove accurate, this incident was not simply a tragic accident. It suggested Christian may have dismissed urgent medical advice, leaving baby Junior to suffer the consequences. And just when it seemed the situation could not get more chaotic, it did. Online sleuths began resurfacing old content that Christian had once deleted, digging through archived clips and forgotten stories. One live stream from earlier this year quickly went viral again. In it, Christian lashed out at critics, declaring, "Stop putting diagnoses on my baby. Y'all weird. Ain't nothing wrong with him. He healthy, he good, God got him." At the time, many brushed it off as her fiery response to trolls. But with Junior now in intensive care, those words strike a much darker chord, less a clapback and more a devastating portrait of denial. And denial, as many are pointing out, can be deadly. The tension soon spilled beyond social media and into the hospital halls. Insiders claim Blueface's mother, Carissa Saffold, arrived uninvited and immediately confronted Christian in the waiting room. Witnesses allege she shouted accusations, saying, "I told you this would happen if you skipped his appointments." Now look at him. Christian, reportedly overwhelmed and hysterical, screamed back, "Shut up. Don't talk about my baby, you don't know anything." The argument escalated to the point that security had to intervene. But in today's world, nothing stays private for long. A bystander captured a shaky clip of the confrontation, and within hours, Twitter lit up with blurry footage of the two women screaming at each other in the hospital corridor. The caption read, "Christian versus Blueface mom. Baby in ICU." It spread like wildfire, turning a family tragedy into yet another viral spectacle. Even from behind bars, Blueface managed to keep the drama alive. According to reports, he sent a cryptic message through an associate that quickly leaked online, fanning the flames of speculation and fueling an already volatile situation. The alleged message from Blueface read, "I've been told her to take that baby's health serious. She too stubborn. Now she crying. SMH." Screenshots of the text quickly flooded blogs and gossip sites, igniting debate. Some fans believed his words showed genuine concern, while others accused him of shifting blame to distance himself from responsibility. Then came the first major twist. Just when the chaos seemed overwhelming, an explosive audio clip leaked online. The recording, allegedly from a phone call between Christian and a family member weeks before the hospital emergency, revealed her unfiltered frustration. In the clip, Christian could be heard saying, "They keep telling me something wrong with him, but I don't receive that." Those words, now resurfacing in the wake of baby Junior's collapse, painted a heartbreaking picture, one of a mother caught between denial and fear, clinging to faith while refusing to accept the warnings that may have foretold this very moment. In the leaked call, Christian's voice was firm, almost defiant. "I don't claim my baby is sick. I'm not letting them put labels on him. God is going to heal him." On the other end, a relative reportedly pushed back with concern, reminding her, "You can pray, but you also have to listen to the doctors. Ignoring this is dangerous." The recording cut off before their exchange reached a conclusion, but what was captured was enough to ignite a firestorm online. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. This was no longer just about an infant rushed to the hospital. It was about whether a mother had knowingly rejected medical advice while her child's life hung in the balance. Twitter erupted into a war zone of opinions. Critics called it neglect, plain and simple, with one viral tweet bluntly stating, "God can't replace a cardiologist." Others insisted Jaguar Wright had been right all along in her warnings. But defenders quickly rallied. Supporters argued that Chrisean was simply young, overwhelmed, and clinging to her faith. "She's scared. Stop demonizing her," one fan wrote. "Y'all want to see her fail so bad. That baby is still alive. Stop speaking death over him." Despite the divided reactions, the damage was already done. With leaked hospital notes, resurfaced live streams, chaotic family confrontations, and now this audio clip, Baby Junior's medical scare had morphed into the most explosive controversy of Chrisean's career. The media wasted no time amplifying the drama. The Shade Room posted, "Chrisean ignored doctors' warnings, Baby Junior's condition raises questions." Hollywood Unlocked spotlighted Blueface's mother, reporting that she directly blamed Chrisean. On Lipstick Alley, a thread titled, "Chrisean's Denial is Destroying Baby Junior," racked up thousands of comments in mere hours. Even TMZ joined in with the blunt headline, "Chrisean Rock's baby suffers cardiac scare, ignored medical advice." As Baby Junior reportedly remained in intensive care, Chrisean's once constant online presence vanished completely. No live streams. No defiant posts. Just silence, a silence that spoke louder than any words she could have shared. When someone like Chrisean, known for putting every tear and every outburst online, suddenly disappears into silence, fans recognize it as a warning sign. Something bigger is unfolding behind the scenes. And this time, the whispers grew even darker. Insiders claimed that Child Protective Services had already been notified. According to one anonymous worker who spoke to a blogger, when a child comes in under circumstances like this, we don't just treat the illness, we investigate the environment. This case is under review. If true, Chrisean may not only be facing public scrutiny, but also the possibility of a custody battle. Then came the twist that turned speculation into outright panic. A leak from inside Zeus Network revealed that producers had allegedly been filming Chrisean in the days before the medical scare. Reports suggested there was unreleased footage showing tense arguments between her and relatives about Baby Junior's condition. If those tapes exist, the question is whether Zeus will shield her from further damage or exploit the controversy for ratings. Either way, the stakes have shifted. Chrisean is no longer just fighting for her son's health, but for her reputation, her credibility, her role as a mother, and possibly even her custody rights. The night Baby Junior was rushed into the ICU should have been one of quiet prayers and private grief. Instead, it spiraled into something darker, with leaks and rumors feeding a public frenzy. By sunrise, the internet was hit with another blow. A blurry hospital photo surfaced on Twitter from a burner account. The image showed what appeared to be a tiny child lying in a hospital bed, oxygen mask strapped to his face, wires connected to fragile limbs. The caption read, "Pray for Baby Junior. His condition is critical. #Chrisean Rock." Though the authenticity of the picture could not be confirmed, fans believed it instantly. The image struck like a gut punch, sparking both an outpouring of prayers and a wave of anger. Supporters begged for the baby's recovery, while critics vented their frustration. This poor child didn't ask for any of this. When Chrisean, known for openly displaying every emotion, suddenly went silent, fans sensed a storm building behind the scenes, and whispers quickly grew louder when claims surfaced that Child Protective Services had been alerted. According to one anonymous worker, when a child arrives in such a condition, the focus goes beyond treatment to investigating the home environment, meaning Chrisean might not only face online backlash, but also a serious custody probe. The tension escalated further when a Zeus insider leaked that producers had filmed her days before the health scare, allegedly capturing heated arguments with relatives over Junior's condition, footage that could eventually see the light of day. That revelation raised the unsettling question of whether Zeus would shield her or exploit the drama, because at this point, Christian's fight extended beyond her baby's recovery to her own reputation, credibility, and potentially her parental rights. The night baby Junior was rushed into the ICU should have brought quiet prayers, but instead it spiraled into darker chaos as dawn arrived with leaks that shifted the internet from sympathy to outrage, starting with a blurry photo posted by a burner Twitter account showing a child with an oxygen mask and wires in a hospital bed, captioned, "Pray for baby Junior. His condition is critical." Hashtag Chrisean Rock. Though its authenticity was uncertain, the image struck a nerve, pulling immediate belief from fans whose reactions ranged from heartfelt prayers to furious condemnation, many echoing the same sentiment. This innocent baby never asked to be caught in such turmoil. Online chaos exploded at full speed, comment sections swelled into thousands within minutes, Twitter feeds turned into non-stop breakdowns, and TikTok drowned in endless conspiracy theories. Speculation spread like wildfire. Could Blueface relatives have leaked the hospital photo? Why would a hospital worker risk their career unless the situation was dire? And the darkest question loomed: if Junior did not survive, would this become a criminal case? With each passing hour, the theories multiplied, and the pressure crushing Chrisean grew heavier. Then came the twist no one expected. A supposed screenshot from a CPS email chain began circulating, suggesting Junior's file had been marked for urgent review. If that document was real, it meant that survival alone would not end the nightmare, because even if the child pulled through, his custody might still be stripped away. That revelation shifted the entire conversation. Suddenly, fans were not only asking if Junior would make it through the night, but also whether Chrisean would even be allowed to raise him if he did. The uncertainty hung like a shadow, and the world seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the fate of both mother and child. Chrisean's credibility unraveled in plain sight. Blueface hurled blame from behind bars, celebrities piled in with opinions, CPS hovered in the shadows, and hospital insiders hinted at grim realities. Just when it felt like the storm couldn't get darker, another leak shattered the silence, and by morning the internet was no longer a space for quiet sympathy, it had become a battlefield. What began as a child's medical crisis had mutated into a cultural flashpoint, pulling in fans, critics, celebrities, and even industry power players. Twitter ignited with colliding hashtags. Hashtag Pray for Junior climbed to the top of global trends, while hashtag Prison Neglect, hashtag Blueface was right, and hashtag Save Junior tore through the timeline. The debates were vicious, some begging people to stop vilifying a young mother watching her child fight for life, others furious that repeated warnings had been ignored. TikTok duets split between raw tears and harsh mockery of Chrisean's hospital livestream, while YouTube commentators churned out emergency uploads with doomsday thumbnails declaring Junior's survival uncertain. Soon, the fan wars spilled into the celebrity world. Nicki Minaj posted a cryptic story about motherhood not being for the faint of heart. Blueface's sister accused Chrisean of unfitness in a blunt tweet. Keke Palmer took a softer approach, going live to urge compassion while demanding systemic accountability for the baby's care. Meanwhile, Jaguar Wright doubled down, insisting the child's suffering was the direct consequence of Chrisean's denial. It wasn't just gossip anymore, it had become a celebrity civil war. Behind the scenes, the stakes were climbing higher. Industry whispers suggested labels were quietly backing away, festivals reconsidering her bookings, and deals at risk if CPS formally stepped in. From behind prison walls, Blueface's voice entered the chaos through a statement his team released, allegedly penned by him. "I warned y'all. My son was never safe. She's not ready to be a mother. I'm hurting in here knowing I can't protect him. If anything happens to Junior, remember I tried to tell you first." That message reignited the firestorm, propelling hashtag Blueface back into the trending stratosphere and sparking a fresh battle. Was he exploiting a tragedy for vindication, or was he the only one speaking the uncomfortable truth? But before dawn, the darkest rumor yet surfaced. An underground hip-hop blog claimed to have spoken with a hospital doctor who revealed that Junior's heart had stopped not once, but twice. Stabilized for the moment, the child's condition was described as fragile, with survival hanging by a thread. The unverified report tore through social media instantly. Fans launched prayer circles on TikTok. Hashtags like #PrayersForJunior and #SaveThatBaby blanketed Instagram, and some even called for crowdfunding campaigns despite the family's wealth, because this felt less like drama and more like a fight for life itself. Then, just as the first light of morning broke, another leak dropped like a bomb. A tear-streaked voice note, allegedly of Chrisean herself, whispering through sobs, "I can't lose him. They'll blame me. If he doesn't make it, they'll take everything. I should have listened. I should have done better." Was it a confession, a breakdown, or simply the sound of a mother collapsing under unbearable weight? Whatever it was, it split the public yet again, with some hearing guilt and others only grief. By day's end, the questions had grown far larger than anyone expected. Would Junior even survive the week? If he did, would Chrisean lose custody, and to whom? Blueface family? CPS? Or someone else entirely? What began as a medical scare had transformed into something much bigger, a battle over motherhood, survival, and public judgment. And then came the most chilling note yet. That evening, TMZ published a sparse update. Doctors prepare family for difficult outcome. No details. No reassurance. Just a haunting suggestion that the fight for Junior's life may already be slipping away. Screens dimmed, timelines slowed, and the world was left in suffocating silence. The hospital offered no confirmation. Chrisean said nothing. And so the only question that remains, the one fans, critics, and even strangers can't stop asking, is whether the next headline will announce a miracle or the unthinkable. Blueface family continues to stir the flames while baby Junior's condition remains uncertain, leaving the hip-hop community anxiously watching every update. At this point, the conversation has moved beyond gossip into a life-or-death matter that has divided fans everywhere. Some argue that Chrisean Rock deserves compassion as a mother navigating an impossible situation, while others insist her unstable lifestyle has finally caught up with her, forcing her child to bear the consequences. Now the debate rests in your hands. Share your raw, unfiltered thoughts in the comments, because your perspective will shape how this story is remembered. If you are one of the many sending prayers, write "Prayers for Junior" to fill this space with love. But if you believe Chrisean must face reality and change immediately, comment "Wake up Chrisean" to show her how urgent this truly is. Hit the like button if you feel this story deserves attention beyond the usual circles, and subscribe so you are not left behind when the next chapter unfolds, because let's face it, this saga is far from over. With TMZ teasing bigger revelations and whispers of devastating leaks ahead, the next headline might not only rattle hip-hop but also break countless hearts.